So here you will find that the history master of Albert Einstein in Albert Einstein at School, the lesson Albert Einstein at School, is asking Einstein a question. Probably he has just told what year the Prussians got defeated. The Prussians defeated the French at Waterloo. And he wants to check whether Einstein has listened to the class. So he's asking him, in which year did the Prussians defeat the French at Waterloo? And you know what Einstein says? Einstein says, I don't know, sir. Why don't you know? You have been told it often enough. So that's why he tells him, I told you many times, and still you don't know. Why don't you know? You should be able to know. That is, if you will keep listening, if you just don't study and still just kept listening in class, you would have known. But I don't know why you don't know. You should have known. And the boy simply says, I must have forgotten. Did you ever try to learn? And Mr. Braun, has caught him, and he knows very well what the problem of Einstein is, that he doesn't make any attempt to learn. Did you ever try to learn? He asked blankly, point blank he asked him. No, sir, Albert replied with his usual unthinking honesty. Why not? Why is it that you didn't try to learn? That's a question. Why did you not try to learn? He says, I can't see any point in learning dates. So this is the explanation that Einstein gives. Einstein says, I don't know why I should learn dates. There's no use in learning dates, he says. One can always look them up in a book. It is always possible to look up or refer. Look up is refer. Look them up in a book. Mr. Braun was speechless for a few moments. He didn't know what to say. For a few moments, he was dumbstruck. He was shocked into silence. He didn't expect an answer like this. He knows that Albert is rude, but not this rude. Okay, he says, you're asking me to learn the dates when one particular king defeated another particular king. I don't know why you should remember it, he says. So he's saying, why should I learn? He's asking the question, why should I learn? It's not necessary for me to learn. You amaze me, Einstein, he said at last. Finally, when he was out of the shock, he says, you surprise me, Einstein, he says. Don't you realize that one can always look most things up in book? That means if you are telling that you can just refer to these pieces of information from a book, this is the truth with regard to all facts. Every fact can be looked up in a book. It applies to all. That applies to all the facts you learn at school, which includes the mathematics formula, A plus B is equal to, those kind of things also you have to learn by heart. You can't remember it as let's say, you can't understand it in any other way. You have to mug it up. You have to learn it by heart. That applies. So if you say that I can refer, then you need to refer also these formulas that are there in maths. You will see later on that Einstein studied those things, but did not study dates. The problem is Einstein doesn't want to study. Yes, sir. He says, yes, sir, that's true. It applies to everything. So he agrees also to the master. Master says, you can refer, for all subjects, you can refer to the material and tell the answer. And he says, yes, sir, it can be done. Then I suppose you don't see any point in learning Freud. So logically, it means, suppose you can refer to everything from books. Logically, it means you don't need to study anything, because everything you can just refer to books and tell. And to that also, our good old Einstein says, frankly, sir, I don't. He says, frankly, sir, I don't see there is any point in learning facts. So points like dates and all those things, I don't think there is any point in learning it, said Albert. Then you don't believe in an education at all. He's asking the question, okay, in that case, you don't believe that people should get educated, because everything is available in books. All you have to do is just open the book and whenever you require, refer, isn't it? So you don't need, any child will not require to learn anything. and therefore it is not required to do any education at all. Education, you don't believe in it at all. And immediately Einstein sees that there is a flaw in his logic, and he tries to clarify. But then before that, the history teacher is little upset, and he says, okay, you seem to have a theory of education. You think the way we are educating you is not right, and you have your own theory of education. So suppose you are such a genius with education, why don't you tell us what that theory is? In that case, said history teacher with heavy sarcasm, maybe, perhaps, you will be so kind as to tell the class the Einstein theory of education. Albert flushed, his face became very embarrassed. He knew that he was being very presumptive, and probably he got angry also that the history teacher is bringing out his weakness in front of all the other students. So his face became red. I think it's not facts that matter, but ideas. So he doesn't. In that rebellious state of mind, he wants to talk back to his teacher. So he says, I don't see the point in learning dates of battles. So he says, why should I learn the dates of battles? Or even the army, which armies killed more men? So that will require studying up how many was killed by one country and how many were killed by another country in order to give the comparison. I don't see the point in learning those kind of things also. I'd be more interested in learning why those soldiers were trying to kill each other. So what I would like to see is, why is it that one group of people want to kill another group of people? I want to know the reason for that. So that sort of thing I am willing to learn. So he is selective about his learning. He says, certain things I don't think is important for our life, so that I will not learn. Certain things I think is important for our life, so I think I will learn that. So this is how Einstein thinks that education should be done. You learn selectively. Learn only those subjects that you're supposed to learn. Other subjects don't learn at all. That's what his theory of education is. That's enough. So Mr. Braun, is upset because that this boy is not apologizing to him or saying sorry, or the boy is not keeping quiet but still going on against him rebelliously. So he shouts at him, that's enough. Mr. Braun's eyes were cold and cruel. You could see the rage burning in his eyes. We don't want a lecture from you, Einstein. So he says, this class doesn't require a lecture from you, Einstein. In other words, he says, don't give me your theories now. I don't want your theories. We don't want your theories. So he says, straight away, you will get punishment. You will stay in. That means you will stay back after school for an extra period from today. So from today, every day, you will stay back after school to study history. Although I don't imagine it will do you much good. Although I think if I punish you, you're asking you to stay back an extra period every day, it won't do you any good. That means you won't study. I know that you will not study. It won't do the school any good either. And by making you stay back in the school will also not benefit in any way also. You are a disgrace. You are a shame. I don't know why you continue to come, says the teacher. And the boy says, it's not my wish, sir. Okay, Albert pointed out, I also don't want to come. Actually, it does mean that in all, let's say, accuracy, it's all something spoken in anger. If you see later on in the lesson, he likes to come for maths class. Even if he knows everything in maths, he wants to stay back. That means he wants to come to school for maths subject. It's not my wish, sir, Albert pointed out. Then you are an ungrateful boy. So it says you're ungrateful to your school, you're ungrateful to your teachers, you're ungrateful to your parents who have spent money to put you in the school, and ought to be ashamed of yourself. And it is your duty to be ashamed of yourself. My suggestion, you ask your father to take you away. That you should ask your father to take you away from the school. Albert felt miserable when he left school that afternoon. So by the time it became closing time for school and he had to go home, he felt very, very upset. He felt very, very dejected. He felt very, very sad. He felt very angry. Not that it had been a bad day. You can't say that this particular day was a bad day. Most days were bad now. See, the truth about bad days is most of the days were bad now. So you can't pick up this particular day and say it was particularly bad. No. So that is why he says most days were bad now anyway. So this day is not specially bad. But because he had to go back to the hateful place the next morning. Why was he miserable when he left school? Because he knew that next morning same thing will repeat. He'll have to come back to school again. He only wished his father would take him away. He wanted his father to take him away. He probably even requested his father to take him away. But there was no point in even asking. But his father won't listen. There was no point, therefore, in asking. He knew what the answer would be because probably he had already asked made this request, and his father had told him an answer, and he knew that the answer is not going to change. He would have to stay till he had taken his diploma. It is necessary for him to stay until he had taken his certificate, which is a diploma. Which certificate is that? It's the 10th standard pass certificate, right? School leaving certificate. He has to take that. Only then he can leave the school. So he has to somehow stick in because his father insists that he has to stick in to the school as long as he has not taken his diploma. That means he is not only to stay back in the school, he has also to pass his exams. If he doesn't pass his exam, he will still stay here itself. It is what his father intends. So when he is not at school, where is he? After the school gets over, where is he? He goes back to his lodgings. Going back to his lodgings did not cheer him up. When he went back to the place where he lived, it did not make him happy. His father had so little money to spare. Father had very little money extra, that is to give him for his education, that Albert had been found a room in one of the poorest quarters of Munich. That he had put Albert in one of the slums of Munich. Poorest places, one of the poorest sections, quarters and sections of Munich. He did not mind the bad food. You know, in a slum, the food that is available is not very good. He didn't mind the bad food. And the lack of comfort, and also that there is not much comfort, it's a slum, so there's not much comfort. Or even the dirt and the squalor. The dirt and the squalor is referring to all the things connected with poverty, all the dirt, all the let's say uncouth behavior that is expected in the slums, and all the unpleasant things in the slum. He didn't mind all of those things. Those things he could take in his stride. But he hated the atmosphere of slum violence. The only thing that he hated about the slum was the violence, the kind of violence that is available in the slum. And he explains that his landlady, that is the house owner, beat her children regularly. So it looks like she has this way of correcting the children. If they become very noisy, she beat her. She beat her children regularly. And you could hear them crying from the beating. You hear the slaps when the landlady beat the children, or the whacks if she had used a stick. And the children crying, and this atmosphere was not very healthy for him. He thought that this is too great a violence to tolerate. And every Saturday, to add to the violence that is already there throughout the week, in the weekend, Saturday time, her husband came drunk. So probably Saturday was the time when he wanted to relax, so he used to come drunk. But the problem when he came drunk is he beat his wife. So she has her turn getting beaten, right, by her husband. So probably that is more violent even than her beating the children. So he, on a continuous basis, he had to face this violence. But at least you have a room of your own. That is the consideration that Yuri asked him to think about. At least you have a room of your own, which is more than I can say, said Yuri. He says, you have a separate room of your own in the sense you have a separate room. You don't have to stay with other people. You have a separate room, which is more than I can say, which means I can't say that I have a separate room, said Yuri when he called round in the evening. When he called round refers to when he visited in the evening. At least, says Albert Einstein, you live among civilized human beings. So he says, what is the point in having a separate room when just beyond the wall you hear so much of violence? So he says, at least you don't have that violence. At least you live among civilized human beings. Actually, he is one of the students who lives with other students. So he's in a hostel. Yuri is in a kind of hostel. So he lives in a huge room with many students. So you live among civilized students. He doesn't have a separate room. He has there is a big room where there are many beds, and probably Yuri is in one of those beds, right? And everything is common. The bathroom is common. Everything is common. So he says, that doesn't matter, Albert Einstein thinks, as long as they are not violent. Even if they are all poor students, even though they are poor students, still they have got some education. They behave in a civilized manner, not like savages. They are not all civilized, Yuri replied. Yuri said, don't think that they are civilized just because they are students. Did you not hear that one of them was killed last week in a duel? So, don't you remember seeing in the news or getting the news from the streets that one of the students was killed last week in a duel, in a fight? I mean, he must have fought with somebody. One of those students fought with somebody. And what happens to the one who killed him? What happens to the student who killed him? Nothing, of course. He is even proud of it. The student who killed the other student is even proud that he had killed the other student. His only worry is that the authorities have told him not to fight any more duels. The only thing that has happened, or only problem that is facing is that the police have told him not to fight any more duels, no more duels. Because once it becomes a duel, they won't put the blame on the student. Okay, only thing is they try to prevent further duels. He is upset about this. He says he wants to find more duels. So it looks like these students are looking for duels. He's upset about this because he hasn't a single scar on his face to wear the rest of his life as a badge of honor. Because he does not have even a single mark, either a blade cut or a scratch on his face where somebody had hit him on his face. If he had some marks like that on his face, he could wear that like a badge for the rest of his life as a badge of honor, and people will respect him for those scars, he thinks. Ah, exclaimed Albert. And these are the students. Oh my God, are these the students? Are the students like this? And immediately Yuri says, well, you will be a student one day. Now, from this one sentence, we can very clearly understand that Albert Einstein and Yuri are not yet called as students. Or probably Yuri is called a student. Maybe Yuri is a little senior. He is already in college. Because it's only the college students who are called as students. So Yuri is telling Albert, one day you will be one of them. One day you will also be a college student. And you can see very clearly what Albert likes actually from this particular slide. See, how does it continue? How does the story continue? When Yuri told him, you will be a student one day, Albert flatly says, not possible. I doubt it. I don't think it is possible that I will become a student, said Albert, but he's not unhappy about it. I mean, he's not happy about it. He's unhappy about it. He said Albert glumly, very sadly, I don't think I will ever pass the exam for the school diploma. I don't think I will get the pass certificate from the board. Because I don't think I'll pass the exam. He told his cousin the same He told his cousin Elsa also the same, that he did not pass the exams. Next time she came to Munich, next time she came to visit him. Normally she lived in Berlin, where her father had a business. I am sure you could learn enough to pass the exams, Albert, if you tried, she said. So her advice is, I think, although you say that you cannot learn, if you try, I think you can easily learn. I'm sure you could learn just enough. You need not learn everything that they ask you to learn. Learn enough to pass exam. Why don't you learn enough just to pass exam? Many children, though they don't like learning, they do that. They learn sufficiently just to pass exam. They don't want to get extraordinary marks. At least they'll pass, because they don't like to mug up, like you people say, to learn by rote. They don't want to learn by rote. Many people don't like to learn by rote, but they do so because they know that unless they do this, they will not be able to pass the exam. For practical necessity, it is in order to become a college student. So I'm sure that you could do that, Albert, if you tried. If you tried, I think you can do it, she said. I know lots of boys who are much more stupid than you are. So she says, you are not very stupid. I've seen people much more stupid than you who have passed the exam. Right? Who get through. I know lots of boys who are much more stupid than you are, and who get through, who manage to pass. They say you don't have to know anything. Those people who pass somehow, they say you don't have to know anything. You don't have to have any knowledge at all in order to pass exam. You don't have to understand what you are taught. They'll give you notes. You don't have to understand the notes. You don't have to understand what you are taught. You just have to write down what they have taught, learn it by heart. Just be able to repeat it in the exam. Without knowing its meaning, you can just repeat it in the exam and you can pass. It's a practical necessity. Everyone does it. Why don't you? And Albert says, that's the whole trouble, said Albert. I am no good at learning things by heart. So now he tells what he did not tell the teacher. He tells the teacher, history teacher, that he doesn't want to learn. Now he says he can't learn. He's not able to learn. Okay. So to people whom he likes, he says that he can't learn. To people whom he wants to be rough and tough, he says that he doesn't want to learn. Right? I'm no good at learning things by heart. You don't need to be good at it. Since she says it's not something that you need to be an expert in. Anyone can learn like a parrot. It's possible for anyone to learn like a parrot. You keep on repeating something again and again until you can repeat it without seeing. And a parrot does that. Same thing, when a parrot can do it, why can't you? You just don't try. The problem with you is you're not trying at all. Right? And yet I always see you, though I see that you don't try to learn anything, I see you with a book under your arm. You're always carrying a book, added Elsa. What is the one you're reading? A book on geology. Geology? Rocks and things? Do you learn that? No. We have hardly any science at school. Then why are you studying it? Because I like it. Isn't that a good enough reason? So look at the logic that he has. If he likes something, even if it is not maths, it's geology. His subject is actually physics. He became a genius in physics. You'll find that he is extraordinarily brilliant in mathematics in the school, in that particular school. He was extraordinarily brilliant. But what is he reading? Geology, not connected with either subject. He says, I'm studying that. Why are you studying it? Why are you reading it? In other words, why are you trying to know about it? Because I like it. I'm studying it because I like it. I like to study that thing, so I'm studying it. Isn't that a good enough reason? Isn't that a good enough reason to study something? Because you like it. Elsa just let out her breath in a sigh, in a sad expression of, in a sad expression, right? It's called a sigh. You let out your breath in a long, slow way. Like that. Elsa sighed. You're right, of course, Albert, she said. But it won't help with your diploma. You're right. You study whatever you like to learn. Yes. But if you don't study what you have to learn, you won't get your diploma. Don't you want your diploma? He wants to get a diploma. You see in the beginning of the slide, Albert was glum that he could not become a student, which means he wants to become a college student. In that case, logic dictates that you should learn sufficiently at least to pass. But he's not doing it, saying that he cannot do it. Maybe this is one of those, let's say, beliefs that he has got that he cannot learn by heart. Maybe it's a wrong belief. Maybe Elsa was right. So he decides to quit from the school. Apart from books on science, his only comfort was music, and he played his violin regularly till his landlady asked him to stop. Apart from books on science, interest in books on science, his only comfort was music, and he played his violin regularly until his landlady asked him to stop. That wailing gets on my nerves, she said. There's enough noise in this house with all the kids howling.